not getting the picks they want? Do they have this, you know, TP Hecarim top lane just running over people from Huni? We've seen it time and time again. I like the first ban from Fnatic. Odoamne is fantastic on tanks. Take Maokai away, and you either force him on Gnar, or to pick something completely different that's not tank related.
Oh yes, indeed. We'll see. The strategy reigns supreme this time around. H2k going for the ban. Huni, strat, Fnatic.
Is Hecarim going to be the last one?
Is it going to be? That is the question.
Because we know he's going to play it.
If Maokai's off the board.
If it's left open now, he will go for Hecarim. Obviously, Lissandra is a flex pick for them. We know Febiven likes to play it in the mid lane. And then Steelback has gone for Graves every single time he had the chance the last few weeks. Not exactly a first pick we would expect from H2k, so you can go for that in the first rotation, and then suddenly you got a winning lane, which Fnatic has used the last few weeks compared to the first ones, but they played like Corki, and Steelback will always fall really far behind.
I'll see what Fnatic does take as their last ban. They have a couple options here as the timer ticks down. The Zed ban against Febiven, of course, and what will it be? It's a Lulu. So there is...
Yeah, no Juggermore.
There's no Juggernaut once again.
They played that obviously last week, and Medium Makers didn't really have a chance, honestly. As soon as we got outside of the laning phase, it was all about H2k and Yanin just running around killing people left and right. So that's now been taken away. Had it been like, you know, 5.4, we've been, oh, Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai's open here. Should be
now
the first
there's
pick
a
now.
lot of
But now there's so many junglers, and a lot of teams now suddenly have like less value on first picking a jungler because there's so many other good options. Yes, Rek'Sai is still the best in terms of the early game, or well, her, I'm about to say him, her and Nidalee will be the best for like early pressure.
Rek'Sai is a girl.
But the thing is, exactly, when it comes to big team fights, the big tanks are obviously a lot better. So if you do go Rek'Sai, if you do go Nidalee, you gotta make plays early on. You gotta use that champion to create a lead, and that's also why we don't see Rek'Sai being first picked. But instead, Kasing gets his Annie. Also take away from Yellowstar, who's normally going to Thresh or Janna if Annie is gone.
Well, you know, Kasing hasn't lost on. He hasn't lost on a lot of champions, in all fairness, but it's definitely served him well. Fnatic now have some choices to make of their own. Hovering the Nidalee right now.
Will they take that Graves again? We know Steelback likes Graves early on here. Sivir is open, which has been a big pick for H2k as well.
Sejuani.
So Fnatic's not taking anything in terms of the AD carries. And yeah, no Rek'Sai, no Nidalee, no, we go for the big tanks. We get level 6, and then we start creating plays for Rainover, and of course LeBlanc for Fabian. Honestly, a bit of a hit and miss champion, despite him having a fairly insane KD on it. He's a very safe mid lane in many ways, and when he plays LeBlanc, and if he sees an opening and kills the enemy support, that tends to be enough for him, and therefore, even if he's 5-6-0, he doesn't really have the biggest impact. We're gonna have to see what he can do today on LeBlanc, and if he can get to these carries here, not just kill the poor support every time.
Not just kill the poor support. Well, it'll be a little easier for him to kill if that's what he's targeting out this time with the Annie. But let's see what H2k decides to lock in here, potentially favoring the Caitlyn. We haven't seen as much Gnar lately, and it does get locked in.
Yeah, this is the thing. When you ban Maokai against Odoamne, if he still wants to play a tank, Sion has not been a pick we've seen him use in quite a while, and his fallback has been Gnar. He used to be undefeated on it, now he lost obviously against Elements because they played around his ulti so well, and Gnar has received quite a lot of nerfs the last few patches. Obviously longer cooldown before you can get your Mega Gnar again, which is what you need for these big team fights. So it's easier to play around this Gnar, and a lot of regions don't even play it anymore. They feel like, no, it's too risky now. But Odoamne is still picking it. I want to see what he can do because he did not have a good game against Elements on this champion.
Yeah, potentially a risky move for H2k. We'll see what Fnatic answer for.
Yeah, so we know obviously now the 2v2 lane for H2k is going to be absolutely insane. So Fnatic can pick around that and say we're going to take a lane swap lane instead. We don't necessarily have to go for that Graves and try and win the lane. And
Huni's gonna get the horse. When they didn't have to take it right away.
No, when Rumble and Lisandro's banned away, you know he's going to go for that Hecarim.
He knows.
Oh, of course.
He's ready to play it.
This is his style of champion.
Oh, yes.
Focus on making plays through teleports and roaming. He's a top laner who never really aims to kill people on his own. He will always be with his team. He always want to set up things together with the rest of the Fnatic members, and that's where a home guard teleport Hecarim is just perfect.
Oh, yes, indeed. And we'll also have an Ezreal this time, since there is a little Blanc locked in. Shouldn't be going over to Febiv. Instead, it's going to be Skillback making his debut on this.
They might just do Janna Ezreal, which is a super safe lane.
Oh, yeah.
But you have 0 kill pressure. Like, you just sit and farm. That's all you do.
It's going to force a lot of attention elsewhere, too. Just curious to see what they end up going for there.
This is standard then into LeBlanc. When Zed is banned, you go for Ahri, you take the skill matchup in the mid lane here. Gotta see if you can time the distortion with your charm. And Nuno, obviously, seen it multiple times. Buff your AD carry. You're gonna win the fight when it comes to killing the enemy front line. But H2k here have a bit of everything, honestly. Decent wave clear. You got strong laning in terms of the Gnar, in terms of the Caitlyn. The problem for me is just how do you really protect the Caitlyn late game? Annie's not here to protect your carry. Nuno can zone with his ulti, but what is a home guard Hecarim's gonna say about that? It's like, you know, I'm flying right over you.
I think they're gonna depend on being able to knock him back with a Gnar. I mean, it's really, really risky, but you're right. Like, what can you do to keep your AD carry alive against this team that has so much lockdown and kill pressure?
So much CC from Fnatic. You got great mobility. LeBlanc can always get to the back line. Ezreal can snipe the back line with his ulti as well. There's so many tools for Fnatic to get to this Caitlyn pick if you do go to the full late game, and that's the one they gotta target. So H2k is gonna be way more about what they can do in terms of fast pushing with the Caitlyn to create a goal lead around the 20-minute mark, and then look for picks with this Ahri here and use that to really, you know, siege down the tower. Like, you get one pick, you put the Caitlyn with a blood boil, and you just destroy the tower.
It looks like Fnatic is going to go the Thresh route for Yellow Star as they lock this one in. The crowd's already getting amped, for Huni especially, as the timer will tick away. Looking at these two comps now.
Yeah, Fnatic's gonna have to swap. I absolutely.
Think you're right.
I hate Israel so much in the laning phase. He's so passive in many ways. You should never be able to really get a kill on him.
Well, he's up against a Caitlyn too. If you do take standard lanes, I think it's kind of a no-brainer to go for the lane swap.
Well, the thing is, Ezreal is a champion you can put in a bad lane, and again just sit back and farm.
That's true.
If you want that Hecarim one-on-one, but even Gnar can do fairly well in the early game against Hecarim, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a swap, and then you just double jungle with Sejuani and Hecarim. Hecarim is one of the best top laners at jungling as well, and you can clear it really, really fast. Then you swap back down and you get some decent XP at least, despite being in a swap on a melee champion.
Yeah, well, I've learned to never underestimate Huni. Hopefully, probably doesn't either. You see him shaking hands there with Daylor as we get ready to load up. This is going to be pretty explosive game again, I think, Deficio. If it's going to be as explosive as the last game, that's to be decided. Yeah. But now, it's time for you guys to make the call. Go ahead and tweet us at LL Esports with the hashtag FNCWin if you think this is where Fnatic locks in a first-round playoff bye, or if you think H2k is going to be coming out on top. H2k wins your hashtag. The crowd's amped. How about you guys at home? Let's get ready to go on to the Rift for Fnatic versus H2k Part 2.
And which team can finally get a lead at 20 minutes? It's where they both always do so well. Fnatic in terms of the kills, H2k in terms of the towers. And yes, they do have a good setup for fast pushing down a tower. If you have a lane swap, Nuno's great in lane swaps because you just send him, once you want to kill that tower, you just send him down to the lane with the AD carry, you block boil him, and you just take down that tower in a matter of seconds. And you play around, obviously, having vision control in the early game. So Nuno is great in that department. It's more going to be what can they do to protect that AD carry if they get in a big team fight. If H2k does not start getting down these towers early on, Huni will find openings through deep wards, which Fnatic will always go in place. Yellowstar is so good at finding openings to get deep wards down. That's where you get the teleport from a Hecarim with home guards. That's where your AD carry says, guys, I'm out. That's it. I mean, I have nothing I can do.
Yeah, in that situation. We'll see how this one goes. We had a brief pause, guys. It looks like we should be getting back into the game in just a moment. But, hey, everybody. I think you hit on really a good point here, but the difference between the two support players is that Yellowstar, yeah, he'll get the roam on, he'll get the wards down, he'll make sure he creates pressure around the map, whereas Kasing, he's going to want to set up his carry for some really, really early play, and I want to see how that dynamic goes down with the head-to-head. This is Kasing's first match against Fnatic, of course.
And honestly, it's the two best supports we have at the moment in Europe fighting against each other, and two really good roamers. Obviously, Yellowstar, always a lot of focus on division, where Kasing has been very aggressive. Like, he's going to flash in, stun your mid laner, and try and get a kill for Ryu in that lane if he sees an opening. That's another reason for well, I guess another reason for both teams, honestly, to lane swap, because it opens up for your supports to roam around a lot in the early game. What we have seen is teams give like instant level 2 to the Annie. Just give it like the Grump. Obviously help her. She gets a Grump and she goes mid. Oh, Yellow Star. He's gonna find Kasing.
Yes, he is. And Kasing, he's got his stun built up, but will he get a chance to use it? Looks like he will. Flash as well.
Huni!
And here comes Huni once again looking for first blood, and he gets it, cleaving Kasing in half.
Alright, and look Huni here. He didn't start any potions. What he wants to do is do the Raptor camp, then he goes back to base, and he buys a cloth armor, and then he's really strong. He gets instant level 2. The crowd loves him, as always. Now he's gonna get even more gold. He's sitting on 600 now, and he kills the Raptor camp. There's gonna be a very strong Hecarim coming back to lane. We will get standard lanes as well. So as we said here, what you can do in that Israel is just sit back and farm. And Huni with that advantage, certainly gonna look pretty good in that lane.
Yeah, should be able to push Odoamne back as well. And speaking of Odoamne, he has started the cloth and pots. Gonna go ahead and back away after he takes down the Razor Beaks. Meanwhile, in the bottom, Steelback Yellow Star able to push up freely as it took Yarn and Kasing just a moment to clear out the Krugs themselves. They don't have level 2 just yet either. There's a teleport for Huni. Back to lane.
Yeah, gets normally he's W second, and that's his sustain together with the Flask. Got boots, a bit more damage there, a bit more mobility. Got the cloth armor, of course, and got that instant level 2. He's gonna bully Odoamne.
Oh yeah.
This is exactly the same he did against Overpower last week. Completely the same setup. He just didn't get the first blood.
So this time it's looking pretty solid for him. On H2k's side, it will start a little bit more normal, but they're already in a slight disadvantage. Let's see where Rainover's going right now. Moving towards the Scuttle Crab. He does like to do this. Make sure at about 3-minute mark he's down in there. Huni gonna dash into Odoamne and knock him right back. Magnar's pretty close, but Odoamne is still pretty low, and he's a level down. Gotta be careful, don't want to take that fight.
So hard for Odoamne to do anything when he's already falling behind. Not even his fault. Kasing being caught out simply, Fnatic roaming up, finding him in the bush, giving the first blood over to the Hecarim. So, Rainover, as you said, got the early vision here. Is it already being pinged by H2k? The trade, we saw Lulix do the same on the top side. And then Rainover will get a blue buff. He's not going to be able to gank. We'll have to go back to base, but Lulix, of course, is very healthy, but a Nuno gank early is not always the most effective, especially not against mobility targets like a LeBlanc, unless they can bait the distortion from February, and then he can go in and force that flash. He's gonna see him though on the Raptor.
To place the ward down, yep. He's able to see exactly where H2k's jungler is. Huni now gets a ward down of his own over by between the Gromp and the blue buff of H2k. Goes right back to lane. Actually fairly even in farm between these two, despite the little edge. Huni's gonna charge right on in as Odoamne hits level 4. He's not got nearly enough rage built up though.
But it's very good information here early from Fnatic. You see, they get the ward on the Raptor. They even saw Nuno being there. And as soon as they saw Nuno was on the Raptor on the bottom side, Huni saw an opening to go in and ward on the Grump. So you got some good early wards down. This is a standard 3-minute one as well, because this one he got from the first blood. Means he can play very aggressive in the lane. Nuno doesn't really have any fancy routes he can take, unless he's gonna run through the lane up for a gank. Against Hecarim, like that's the only route he can take, really. Otherwise, he's gonna have to walk through the river, and that's where this ward should spot him in most situations.
Yeah, it levels the jungle playing field especially, because as you mentioned, Rainover may not have the most... Okay, never mind. The potent ganks may still be coming in because that ward expired just in time, but Yarnan is able to move away. Rainover coming right back on in. The flail is still flailing. Steelback looks like he wants to pick up a kill himself. He's gonna play back. Kasing now, a 3-man stun, and they get nothing.
Rainover tried again to flash in here, get the knock-up onto Yarnan, but he missed it. Yarnan managed to escape, but there was a lot of summoners being blown. Both sides, honestly, 2 flashes from Fnatic. Obviously, a flash from Yarnan. Rio trying to see if he can land a charm onto Febivan. Still fell low on mana, but standard in the mid lane. LeBlanc does have the early pressure, at least onto level 6. She's the one who can jump around distortion. Decide the fights. Oh yeah, all 3 flashes blown from Fnatic on that gank and didn't even get the kill. Got to shove in the wave, however, instead, and got a good back timing, so that's okay for Fnatic.
Oh, Huni continuing on this chase. Yeah, you mentioned this is Fnatic style. They are one of the bloodthirstiest teams in the LCS here, and H2k very calculating. They've kept their losses to a minimum. Take a look back with your bot lane. You can see Fnatic has already backed away. That tier picked up. by Steelback. He's going to be stacking that away, but he wanted a lot of damage to trade out with, and Garnet's got a pickaxe.
He has 0 combat stats in the lane, so he really surrenders the entire lane pressure over to H2k. And it simply means Lulix can come down to this bottom lane, blood boil the Caitlyn, and you can fast push it in. And you can get quite some damage. So you slowly chip it down. Once you want to finish it, that's when Lulix joins, and you get the first outer turret. It's the thing H2k loves to do. And then you rotate the Caitlyn instead, you put a top lane. You do the exact same thing. You slowly take down the tower, and you create quite a gold lead from it. Now Reignover's second gang. Trying on Odoamne. Oh!
Yeah, there's the hop. Oh, there's the flash. Onslaught of Shadows comes in. Odoamne is now able to push back, though. Reignover had to give up on it. He didn't have his ult just yet. Lulix, meanwhile, is going to go ahead and start off this dragon.
Yeah. And there's nothing Fnatic can do to stop it. Look at the mid lane's been pushed in by Rio. Bottom lane, we know the Caitlyn is going to push in on this Israel over and over. Maybe Yellowstar can do something. He needs to be careful he doesn't get collapsed on. Kasing is moving up now. Rio is moving down as well. And obviously Reignover was on the top side. He's not moving, he's doing the rapid.
Oh, the charm. Febivin walked right into it. And he can't get involved in this, but there's a teleport coming in for Huni right now. They definitely want to fight over, but it's too late. The dragon, it's already gone. They'll change their attention to Kasing. The stun lands again. But they're not done just yet. The chains aren't going to connect. Kasing will finally go down, but it's to Yellowstar at the end of the day. And a 1 support for Dragon is not a bad trade for H2k.
Oh, and look at the top lane here now. Odoamne is going to get quite some damage on that tower. Huni had no ulti when he TP'd down. He used it for the gank beforehand. So top tower going to get poked down. We know the bottom tower is going to get poked down later. Obviously, a home guard Hecarim can return to lane.
It's a very early home guard.
Pretty fast.
Yeah, so he gets back. It's not too much trouble, but this has allowed Odoamne to really start stacking up some farm against him. He's also got some serious tank stats. The charm's going to land on Reignover. Orb of Deception and the Foxfire as well. He's got to be careful. Ryu's looking for some blood.
Again, it doesn't look like much. You lose a bit of damage, you lose a bit of HP on your tower, but it's what H2k want. That's how they get that goal lead in the mid game, by taking out these outer turrets. So, despite falling behind 2 kills, it's not the worst start ever for H2k. They got the dragon as well.
No, not at all. And they're not down by so much gold too. It's mostly it's all the kills really that have made the difference. And actually, in a couple of lanes, we're seeing the farm advantage. Odoamne managed to grab some when Huni was gone. They weren't able to stop the dragon. They burned a teleport, so there's a teleport timing advantage here as he, well, not anymore, as Odoamne goes ahead and uses it to get back to lane. But, yeah, H2k, they're playing this out very smart, and it's working out well for them despite giving 2 kills over on Kasing.
79% for Fnatic.
Oh, yeah.
Don't think you can
can't take that away from them.
debate too much anyway.
The fan favorites.
Yeah, regarding fan support here. H2k is still a fairly new team to the LCS. Haven't really picked up.
You couldn't guess by the Huni chance.
That's true. That's true. Now, H2k haven't really picked up too many fans yet, despite having some very good games here in the EU LCS. But of course, if they keep doing it, coming into the summer split as well, I'm sure fans will follow at some point. Now, this bottom lane again. Whenever Steelback is on his own, he just farms safely. That's perfectly fine. He got back and got a pickaxe as well with the second assist. And then Reignover shows up for gank number 3. Oh, sorry, it's Huni. It's not even Reignover.
Yeah, Huni and Yellowstar are moving around. But there we go. The Tibbers is going to land the box as well on Yarnan. There's the true shot barrage, and Huni with the onslaught of Shadows is going to pick up his second. Kasing now in some trouble as Febivin comes around the side. And even Yellowstar makes it out.
That was a top laner coming down to the bottom lane with no teleport. Dives H2k. Completely shuts down this Caitlyn lane here. Will get a lot of damage on that tower. Meanwhile, Reignover went top lane to defend. Rio is now roaming up there, so they might be able to pick up this tower at least. Nope, only because Huni's back again.
He is really fast.
Won't even get this one, and suddenly Fnatic getting quite a lead with all these kills.
Yeah, Huni's been involved in all of these so far. Reignover's coming up. Still, Odoamne pecking away at that tower. He does get some serious damage, but that is an acceptable trade for Huni, it would appear. Meganar about to happen, but Reignover's here. And will he make his great escape? The Gnar into the wall. It's Huni and Reignover who get caught up, but now it's Odoamne win the Glacial Prison. This could be trouble. Huni's taking a lot of tower shots here. Reignover's still going for the chase. Huni oh so low. Reignover will finish it up, but they both get battered and bruised.
Yeah, and this time there was no dragon for H2k to take once Reignover went for this top lane. You can see the pink ward in the tri-bush as well up on the top side, setting up a very easy gank for him. All you gotta worry about now is your bottom lane. But Steelbike is sitting, trying to wait for that and backs away from this one.
Yep.
Again though, H2k, they keep dying. They keep getting damage on the tower. Can it be enough for them? Can they get down these towers then in 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes? Even out the gold, or will Fnatic be able to just keep making these picks? I mean, again, we've seen a top laner with no TP go to the bottom lane, sit in the bush like a jungler, and then just go for a dive 10 minutes into the game. I mean, who is making some play?
Oh, the charm onto Febivin. And he takes a parting shot as well. Gotta be careful against this Ahri of Ryu.
Look at the wards here from H2k. Full control on the bottom side they think. It's only the lanes they can't spot, which is where Fnatic has been coming from a few times.
Oh,
everything else is set around it. Yeah.
Oh, W9D1, he's not close enough to the transformation, but he is pushing Huni back with the boomerangs. Very, very tanky here now. Starting to get that way as he gets closer and closer to its Randuin's Omen.
W9D's done a good job farming. Now, this is what we mentioned a few minutes ago, how once you want to kill that tower, you just take your Nunu, put it down the lane with the AD carry, and it's a very easy push for you to finish up the tower. At the moment, 1200 gold for Yarnan, so he's still not very strong. Not really gotten to be a lane bully because of all these ganks from Fnatic on the bottom side, where Nunu is simply not able to respond. But by getting that tower, we know top tower is super low, so if W9D doesn't kill it now, you just swap Yarnan up there after this dragon is gonna get killed, and then he just takes that tower for himself. I think W9D should be able to get it now, and you can just go down and you can potentially take a 5-on-5 at the dragon.
Yeah, shouldn't be too much trouble for him to polish that one off, indeed. Huni's coming here to try and force something after it, but there's the hop and the skip. You take a look at the gold game right now, it is just about dead even after that second turret. So 2 towers roughly equals 5 kills.
Today also obviously a bit of a small farm advantage for the top lane. What happened?
Exactly. So now Reignover and Steel back, focusing their attention a little closer on the mid. Dragon's live. W9D actually, nearly Meganar runs right into the brush where Huni was hiding. We'll see what happens in the aftermath of that. Both top laners have their teleports available, but it won't do them any good if they're dead. Fnatic are gonna start off this dragon with 3 members.
Meganar just got popped here. Huni wants to recall now to base so he can sit with his home guards and teleport down if they need him. You can see in the minimap he's recalling now. If H2k wants to fight, they won't have Meganar, and they will have to deal with the home guard Hecarim. So they, wisely enough, go mid lane instead. There's just purely timing on the top laners for them, but this mid tower will take quite some damage, and W9D now needs to be very careful.
He's ignited. There's a True Shot Barrage coming in too. It looks like it's not going to, oh it does clip W9D as he runs back down towards the middle. H2k have been thwarted there as well. They can't quite polish off the tower. They just need a few more hits.
Yeah, no ulti from Steelbike here, but Blanca has to try and play with Distortion. That's a bit tricky for you to do if you're grouping on that tower. So H2k, if they get just a small numbers advantage, they need 4 guys to 3, they will take that tower down. But obviously Fnatic now setting up on the sides. They need a pink ward just above the edge here behind this blue buff. And then you have a flank opening for Febivin to come in if H2k wants to group on that tower. If he shows bottom lane here, expect Caitlyn to push up that lane.
We'll definitely expect that. Now it is 1-1 in the Dragons. It is 5-0. Kills in favor of Fnatic, but H2k are the ones with the objectives. So far this game has gone exactly as we expected, Deficio.
Yeah, kills for one team, towers for the other one. Not 20 minutes yet. Rio is gonna try and look for a pick. Wants to charm Febivin.
He's got some more damage now. The Abyssal Scepter completed as well as a Fiendish Codex. Reveals himself. Just gonna go ahead and clear the wave away. Orb of Deception doing a lot of the work for him. Chain's not gonna connect and Febivin walks it out.
I don't understand why H2k didn't just take mid tower here. You have Nunu coming from the top side, casting recall, okay, now they're gonna go for it instead, that's fine then. I was about to say, that was a free mid tower for you guys. And there it is, down. Getting the last outer turret now, so suddenly your wards are gonna be pushed up a notch here. You can get it actually into the jungle of Fnatic. You can start spotting these flanks being set up. So suddenly there's very few openings for Febivin to go in and try and get to that backline from H2k. It also means if Fnatic ever wants to push on the mid outer turret, you're gonna need wards in the entrance to the jungle of H2k because you gotta be able to see what's going on. If you get caught in a bad fight and your own outer turret is gone, you have nowhere to run.
Yeah, Febvin still trying to play the bait game. Ooh, Ryu, dangerous to go alone! And check the brush, doesn't quite do it. He takes a little bit of damage, but Febvin backs out afterwards.
Fight between Febvin, who used to be the H2k mid laner, and Ryu, his replacement, who used to be the other Z. Now he's just Ryu here in Europe. This tower is very low, and Ryu had to use his ulti, so suddenly he can't really do a whole lot. See if he can hold it. Lolix is there as the good bodyguard.
They should be able to do it, but now Fnatic are eyeballing this mid turret themselves. It's still pretty healthy, and there's a number of H2k members around. Rainover getting dragged up by Yellowstar to look for Oda however, as the boomerang hits him in the head. Still looking to find any kills they possibly can around the map. Pings of flying. Febvin and Lulex just look at each other in the brush. Well, Febvin looked at Lulex. Lulex wasn't sure what he was looking for.
Laughing a little bit. This is the joy of Caitlyn. Once you get out of the laning phase, you just plant your behinds in the mid lane, and you just sit there and you just wave clear. Like, that's all you have to do for the next 10-15 minutes as a Caitlyn. Instead, there's fights all around the map. Huni is getting pretty low here. Meganov from Oda coming in soon.
It's coming pretty quickly. I think Fnatic, they're going to try to
wall.
back away. The onslaught of shadows. Ryu takes down Huni. Yellowstar could soon follow. He blows his flash. Ryu's on the chase. He throws the box down, but the charm's going to connect anyways. Here's Rainover. I think he's going to leave him for dead, though. And they take him down. It's Oda with the kill. Febvin should be able to get a tower on the bottom, but he's in no rush as he's chasing Lulex away. A couple of laughs, and that snowball goes quite a long ways.
Oh, he's down.
Oh, not over yet.
Fighting.
Lulex, absolute zero.
No,
Febvin
did nothing.
Moves away from it.
Yeah. Nuno's not going to do a whole lot in that tower defense. Instead, Rainover on Kissing.
Yes, so Kissing is able to dodge a little bit. There's a teleport now coming in for Huni. Home guard, Hecarim, here he comes, and Kissing goes down.
Smack. And down goes Kissing. This game now has really opened up a lot of crazy fights. I mean, Fnatic were going for that top lane dive before, and H2k responded. It is still very close in goal. 3 towers obviously for H2k, 1 for Fnatic. In that bottom lane, Febvin managed to take it. He's looking good on this LeBlanc. Question is just what can he do in the big team fights? He's going to be the one with Huni really to dive that back line.
Well, it's not the first time, too, that Febvin's had a good score line and still not had the greatest impact for his team. We'll see if that changes this time around. But for the time being, yes, it is very even. Fnatic, they will take another tower up top. It's finally polished off by Huni. Febvin still just hunting around this bottom side to see if he can get a quick catch out on anybody. Doesn't look to be the case. Next dragon, less than a minute away, so everyone's starting to eyeball that side of the map.
And this is where these early kills really become important for Fnatic, because it means even though they lost those outer turrets, H2k could never really dominate the map, because they were still behind in terms of items already completed or how strong your champion is at certain points. That's just done. He can jump the wall, though.
Yeah, they're going to let him go for that one, but he nearly got caught.
That was Tipples and Flash. 20 seconds for this dragon. TP's down low from Huni. He used it before to get that kill. So there's a lot of important spells or summoners missing here for this potential fight. And you can see Oda, he's going to push in. Huni's not there to defend. So H2k is going to trade another tower for the dragon. And because it's 1-1 in dragons, that's a fine trade to take if Oda can take down this tower. Push mid as well. Just go Caitlyn, Nuno up mid lane. Go up, get some damage on this mid tower. And then you go up to the top side, get a few deep wards after you got a few hits on that tower.
3 members of Fnatic are backing, though. This tower, it should go down, even though Huni's already back. He's going to get in there for the defense, but it's already at half health. Yeah, they're going to definitely trade this one over.
All right, that was fine here.
So it stays even. 2 dragon advantage to Fnatic.
And look at the jungle now. 4 deep wards were just placed from H2k. So they made a good call here, knowing that the home guard Hecarim could probably come back and defend, and therefore they couldn't go for mid lane. Instead, just went straight top.
Yeah,
so
don't get too greedy.
Trade the deep towers, or the deep wards and the tower, for the dragon. Now it's just back defending mid lane, and it's a good trade then from H2k's side.
Oh, Rainover comes in. The hook does not connect on Oda, but Rainover is going to get pulled back as he gets stunned. Courtesy of the Thresh Lantern, bailing him out of a bad situation. H2k now, 5 members up in the middle. Huni, however, is looking to push out in the top. Fnatic giving a little bit of ground here, and they're perfectly fine to do it because they've got some wave clear to do up in the top and bottom.
Not gonna push in on anything. Both side lanes are gonna push back now from Fnatic side, and H2k need at least one of them pushing in if they want to go mid lane and use the Nuno Kate. You don't really want to fight at this point here if you are H2k. You only sit on an advantage on Caitlyn. She's very weak in a straight-up team fight at this point here. She's gonna get one-shot by Huni if he comes in with the home guard, or close to it at least. So you don't want to team fight if you're H2k. You want to keep trying to trade objectives and play around the map itself. It's just so annoying against the Hecarim. I mean, he's so fast at moving between the lanes. You need multiple wards to spot him coming down from the side. And you cannot push too far forward if you don't know if every single ward behind you is cleared, because then he has an option to teleport to. So it's really, really tough. H2k gonna have to move like super slowly forward. Always worry about the flanks. And that's really where Fnatic is gonna have that edge because of this Hecarim pick.
Just like that, they managed to knock themselves down another tower. Yes, indeed, the Hecarim has been causing some headaches for H2k. Huni's just gonna go ahead and start up on the blue, but there's a few members there to defend. You might want to think twice about that one.
It's been part of every single kill. He picked it up himself, but he got the assist.
There's been a lot of action in that top lane, but he's also been able to get across the map. Here comes the Ezreal. Wait. No, he didn't get it. It was really close, though.
Baited.
That's a wipe the sweat off your forehead moment for Ryu, though.
That was so close to get that steal. So Steel by Kate, despite having a tough laning phase, or well, on paper against the Caitlyn, because of these early ganks, he got that early tier. He's been fully stacked already. He's gonna get Trinity Force very soon as well once he goes back the next time. And then he's really hit the mid-game spike off an Ezreal, where he's gonna be extremely strong, at least for the next few fights, if Fnatic wants to go for them, and of course they do. They're just waiting for that one teleport to be ready. It's up now. Get a deep ward placed, and if H2k ever steps too far forward, you TP him behind, you kill them. So this is going to be a point again for H2k where they don't really have anything they can do. Now there are 3 guys on the bottom side.
And there's no vision of this Baron.
Ryu showed himself. There's 0 wards on the Baron now, and there's so many wards around him from Fnatic. This is going to be a free Baron.
Yeah, oh, there goes the blue trinket, but they've still got a lot of damage to polish it off. And there's no smite anywhere near it. It does get taken down. Fnatic, they sneak it quite handily at 23.5.
Play they've made before with these early Barons, and H2k having 0 wards around it, and 3 guys on the bottom side. Anyway, there's a wave pushing, but you can't really go for it. Again, there's too many wards for Fnatic. You can see how Huni's pinging on the minimap here. He's going back to base. He has home guard now. He can TP in behind if H2k stay in this mid lane. He's going now.
They are coming in. Oh, Tony, he gets a Tibbers on his head, but that's not going to stop Fnatic. Just slow him down for a second. Yarnan, onslaught of shadows onto him. Can he stay alive? I don't think so. It's Huni picking him up. Kasing just going to get melted after the fact. 2 for none, just like that, and a Baron up Fnatic, charging down the mid lane.
And really, what is H2k going to use this Caitlyn for? If you can't even stand in the mid lane any longer. It is so hard. And remember, H2k banned Rumble and Lissandra, left the Hecarim open for Huni to pick.
Well, much to the crowd's pleasure, you cannot stop the man in Fnatic's top lane, and H2k cannot stop that second turret going down. Fnatic have just been on a tear, and now they're looking for top, roaming together to try and take yet another objective. Dragon's about a minute away as well.
And this one, H2k should be able to come in and at least sit nearby and stop Fnatic from pushing it. You got Caitlyn, you got Ahri, so your wave play is decent. As we can see, Fnatic are backing away. Obviously, Hecarim needs his TP back before we can see the next big play from them. But then you just go back, you keep doing 1-3-1 setup, you push down these lanes here. And again, if there's just one mistake in the warding from H2k, Huni will find an opening, or Fabian will find an opening to sneak in behind. And you do exactly the same. And Caitlyn is going to do nothing for 10-15 minutes more. And that really is a problem for H2k. They got the outer turrets down, but because they lost so many kills, they were not strong enough to apply pressure on the map after and push the next towers.
And this is it too, because though they have a teleport advantage window, and they know Huni can't necessarily come out of nowhere and make big plays, as long as he stays with the team, there's not a lot H2k can do here. You see the Dragon Shrine, or rather the Scuttle Crab Shrine around Dragon cleared away. Oh, Ryu, they're going to try to make the play here right now. Yellow start taking a lot of damage as the teleport comes in for Otawamne, but Kasing already down. Rainover in the mix. Otawamne gets caught on a hook, and now Rainover, Yarden is oh so low. Steelback is going to be the one that picks him up with a true shot barrage, and a dragon on top will come after this, but they're not done yet. Rainover burning away. Let's see if he can grab himself a little bit of health back. Huni in the front. They're going to catch Ryu as well. Oh, and he just gets taken down. Otawamne, he's got to bail out of there. Rainover is oh so low, but they just don't have the damage to finish anyone off. And it's a 3-for-0 for Fnatic. Forget the dragon. They're looking at inhibitor turrets.
Hey, remember, we still got the Baron buff at least for a few seconds. Now it's gone, but the minions were just buffed up. They're going to push this one and get inhibitor. You can go back, recall, reposition for that dragon. You got time because there's still 20 seconds on Ari here. Kasing obviously getting poked down again.
He has not had a great game.
H2k cannot team fight. The only thing they can do at this point is either get a pick, which is what they tried to do, or aim to push down a tower, but you're never going to get in that position because you're falling so far behind. Look here, fight is on. Ryu tried to set up a pick, that's fine. But Kasing ends up dying. We know Fabian loves to kill these supports here. And then the fight is on. Pony joins in, ulti over the wall. No damage from your Caitlyn. She's already dead as well, and yeah.
I mean, when you've got a Gnar about to go Mega having to flash away from the fight, something has gone horribly, horribly wrong. Here Ryu eats another hook, and from there it's just Fnatic rolling all over H2k. They grab themselves the dragon on the way out. They managed to get away. Everything's back to where it was before, but Yarden, he's got to be careful. LeBlanc's starting to get pretty deadly. So I think we've answered the question this time that Febiven has definitely been a very large part of the team play in this particular game, Deficio.
It's been at least getting some very good picks. He got a good split push earlier as well, but really, I mean, again, we talk so much about Huni, and there's a reason. Guy has been part of 9 kills on his Hecarim, 5 for himself. He's been all over the place. And you can just see here, Kasing has been the target a few times. 0, 6, and 0. And then obviously, Jan in the next one.
There's really no protection. They don't have a lot of tanks. The only one they've really got is Otawamne, and that's situational. Yeah. So
it is always a tricky one. If you have like a comp that's built around like fast pushing down towers, and yes, you can get the outer ones, but if you can't keep pushing that lead, you don't really have anything you can
start
do.
To fall behind.
If you start falling behind with a comp like this, there's so little you can, especially against all the engagement from Fnatic, all the mobility from them. And that's obviously why this game is so one-sided now. Because Fnatic are a team who really knows how to push that mid-game lead. I didn't even see who was ahead of 20 minutes, despite us always talking about it. 2 teams who often have the lead at 20 minutes.
No, I think we've answered the question of who gets the lead. Maybe not at 20 minutes, but now that we're at 29, for sure, Fnatic are the ones pushing on forward. Remember, they get a win here. They lock into that #2 playoff seed, owning the head-to-head against H2k if that happens.
Yeah.
Got it in their sights.
Obviously, #2 in the standings will be facing the winner of #3 against #6 from the quarterfinals, which at the moment would be H2k against Copenhagen Wolves. Winner of that game will then face Fnatic in the semifinal, and then HK-Gaming would face the winner of Gambit and Unicorns of Love, as it looks right now.
Well, even if it changes, right now it's looking pretty good for Fnatic, that's for sure. H2k going to try to set up a bit of a trap, and one of the few brushes not warded out by Fnatic. We'll see if they take the bait. I feel like Fnatic might know a little bit more about death brushes, though.
They do, and they also know about taking a massive wave and pushing down a tower. H2k were clearing super minions in the mid lane. I believe so, at least. Not sure what else they were doing in the mid lane. But this tower is down super, super easily. It's basically just going to be a matter of time for Fnatic here and see how fast they do want to end. Take another Baron. H2k, if they show up and try and fight for this one, it's all Fnatic wants. Look at your minimap here.
Huni's just
sitting
on the
sitting in that base, yeah.
Yep.
They want to start this Baron. They're going to say, H2k, come stop, please. We got multiple wards behind you where we're going to teleport on, and we are going to destroy you.
Oh, they've caught Lulex.
That's the teleport.
That's the start. Here comes the teleport in. Lulex taken oh so low. Huni just going around the side, and he gets the flank on. They are going to get the Glacial Prison. Rainover is going to make that fight start out really, really well for Fnatic. Otawamne with the big Gnar knocks him back for just a moment, but that's not going to be for very long. He's taken down. That's 4 kills for Fnatic. They're pushing in. They could end it right here.
Oh, they will end it, Pyrus. Such a good game from Fnatic. once we get to that mid game, every single time they make some plays, and don't give Hecarim to Fnatic. It's the perfect champion for them.
You cannot ban out Huni. He's got at least 4 champions. You absolutely have to respect. Hecarim proved to be one of him. So much kill participation in this game. Fnatic, they take the 2-0 against H2k all time this spring, and they are the #2 seed here in Europe.
Yeah, as we said, this guarantees them a spot in the semi-final and also a trip to Madrid, where we will have the final. Obviously, the winners match and then the match for 3rd place. So we're gonna see Fnatic and SK-Gaming for sure at the moment in Madrid. And honestly, I mean, this game, early kills for Fnatic as expected. Early tower pushing from H2k as expected. They got down these outer turrets, but then simply if you also look at the comp here, it was just too weak to keep pushing on, and because there was this Hecarim who could always teleport in behind you, you could never really set up proper pushes, you couldn't get to the tier 2 towers, and that's why you couldn't use that Caitlyn. And suddenly she falls into a bit of a slump where she just sits and be like, okay, I need 10-15 minutes of farm, otherwise I'm not going to do anything, and that's why Fnatic just snowballed the game.
Yeah, and this really comes down to them just being able to fight much better, being able to force the picks and then go full hog in that game. 3 of the members of Fnatic did not die. There were only 2 kills for H2k. They were so prioritized with taking down the towers, and then when they got stopped, Fnatic turned up the heat so quickly. You can see how happy they are to be locking in that #2 seed for the spring playoffs. First round bye, very, very important.
Super important, of course. You get to scout as well. The team you're gonna get to watch their best out of 5 in the quarterfinals, and you can learn so much because for a team adapting, you know, from one week to another, that's really tough when it comes to you play 5 games potentially. Everything is going to be shown for Fnatic. They can see how you play from behind, how you play when you hit, how do you close out games, what kind of compositions do you build, and then suddenly if you do, I mean, you have a week on it to change for that team who has to face Fnatic, who's now going to get 2 weeks of extra practice and time to prep. So really, really important to get that bye here. And of course, we got the standings again with Fnatic being secured as #2.
Yep, so not only have they secured that #2 place in the standings, but they have locked in the last remaining bye, as we said, to the playoffs with SK-Gaming. You take a look at that on your screen right now. Of course, still in the race for that 6th place spot, but it's starting to look a lot clearer here.
Yeah, and suddenly we're going to have to start looking down at the bottom here instead. Yes, Giants and NYM are not going to make the playoffs. However, one of them is going to be auto-relegated. So
which one's it going to be?
We're going to have to see which one is going to be. If they both go 0-2 and end up at the same score here, there's going to be a tiebreaker match tomorrow between these 2 teams where the loser is out of the LCS. No chance to requalify. And the winner would go down to the promotion tournament and face one of the challenger teams. So that's going to be a tricky, tricky one. NYM plays SK-Gaming. That's next game. We're not exactly expecting them to win that one, even though upsets have happened in the past.
Very, very true.
SK-Gaming obviously want to win and secure, completed that #1 spot. And then obviously Giants taking on Elements and then facing Copenhagen Wolves tomorrow. So 2 teams who's not exactly going to take them lightly either.
Yeah, I mean, really, you have to think down to the wire. Obviously, we've been saying it for weeks, every game counts, but now especially when one game definitely determines where your future is, and the LCS are out of it. I mean, it makes teams a little more dangerous than usual, Deficio. You think anything can happen. Anything
can happen, and I wouldn't even be surprised to see some, you know, new picks maybe. NYM trying to
We've seen a lot already on 5-5.
We've seen, like, was it 48 picks?
Yeah, well, and we saw Katarina.
We saw Katarina. Yeah. We've got some new picks to add in as well. We got to see Hecarim again for Huni. I like that.
We got to see Ezreal
very
80
much.
carry.
Ezreal 80 carry.
That's good for us.
That's kind of boring, but we'll take it. It worked okay. It was a safe lane. But hey.
It worked out, you know, and to be honest, Chardon really never got rolling. He goes 0-4-0 on Caitlyn this game.
In the lane.
He had some real trouble. I mean, Kasing got blown up so many times. I mean, Annie's is good in theory. He did fantastically on it, but
true,
this
but
time it just
the enemy top laner shows up at minute 10 and ganks you from the lane. You're like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, you're done. What are you going to do?
That's it.
Well, for some more insight onto their win, we're going to go ahead and hand it back to Shox, who's joined by Fnatic's Yellowstar and the man in the mid lane, Fabivin.
Thank you very much, Pyra, and congratulations, you both. With this win, you lock in the first round bye for the playoffs. You'll be going to Madrid. Tell me what it means, Yellow Star, knowing that this was a huge change for you coming into the season, and now making sure that you especially have that first round bye.
Oh, well, it gives a really huge advantage. I'm really proud of my team, even though no one really expected Fnatic to be at such a high level. We didn't have a lot of time to practice going into this season, so I think we've been putting a lot of effort into hard work, and it really pays off. And I know that a lot of us were really stressed before this match because it was really important for us to jump into the semifinals directly. But now we've made it, and everyone is just super happy.
Yeah, congratulations, Febiven. He talks about a lot of hard work. There were a lot of nerves involved as well, and you tweeted beforehand, "I'm so incredibly nervous." So how did it end up in the game? Did you miss a couple more CS, or do you think that you did okay?
In the game, I played in every game, so I didn't really feel nerves in the game. But before the game, I was shaking and my hands were like sleeping, and I didn't know what to do. I was really nervous, and I never had this before. I don't know what happened, but yeah.
It might get a little bit worse if you go into playoffs, but I'm sure you'll be able to keep that in check. Tell me about H2k and the way you beat them. You guys are obviously a very aggressive team, and you got a lot of kills early, but H2k always manages to stay in the game. Did your game plan change at any point, knowing that, oh, we seem to have so many kills, but H2k is still taking towers?
Well, H2k was prone to be really aggressive before the new patch, but coming to the new patch, the meta really shifted into like really hard hyper carry, and we expected them to play like such comp, so that's why we banned the tools to protect the Como, and then they decided to go for the engaged comp like they are used to play. We were prepared for both of the situations, and it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, Febiven, Yellow Star is talking about them on the new patch and maybe the picks that H2k comes out with. You obviously know H2k very well. Why do you think it is that even though H2k has the better record as of late, you guys have actually had a couple of more losses in the last couple of games, that you're able to beat them so convincingly?
I think H2k is a really good team, but I don't really know a lot about them, even though I was in the team. Like, so many things changes.
How do you think they've done on the patch, for instance? Because we've seen, for instance, W9D1 going back to that Gnar once again when there could have been different things, but he doesn't seem to be comfortable.
I think we outdrafted them because we had the Ezreal in the AD, we had LeBlanc, we had Hecarim top. Basically, Ahri can never kill Ezreal and LeBlanc because you can dash away. So there was no way from them stopping us if we got our core items. So if we got a good early game, so we just snowballed that into a Drake lead and a Baron lead, and then we just took everything.
Outdrafted and outplayed them, and Stress, you actually had an interesting point about the draft coming out of H2k as of late on the patch, that they don't seem to be as innovative maybe as other teams.
Yeah, that is one of the things that we were talking about when we were looking at the picks and bans, is that first picking Annie straight away was a little bit of a... I guess it goes along H2k's kind of picks and bans. You guys must have expected that, I guess.
Yeah, but I don't think Annie right now in the meta is a first pick material. I'd say like it's more based on tank champions, CC, and all of this. So she's pretty squishy and really vulnerable to ganks, and I mean, it's the way they want to play, and I really respect that, and we really punish that lane.
No. You didn't go for the Nautilus second time again. Did you get burned, or what happened there?
No, the thing is, I was really thinking about it, but we wanted to snowball that bot lane, and with Thresh is way easier. Even though the first gank we didn't manage to take one kill, we burned the flash, and Caitlyn is not as efficient as she is now, as she was.
Yeah, well,
with
good pick in the end. You guys pulled out. One final question. We didn't hear that much from you guys before the season. Obviously, you were also kind of waiting out how it would be and how the synergy would be. Turns out it is pretty good. You guys get that first round bye for the playoffs. So tell me about your expectations for playoffs, because you can dream big with the things that you've shown so far, Bora.
Yeah, we are working really hard every day. We really want to improve. Everyone wants to show that Fnatic is still here. We already have 3 European titles, so we're going for the 4th one.
Yeah, I love that you say we, with your new teammates gearing up to get that one. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, for now, though, we need to take a break. But when we return, Meet Your Makers will look to score a win off #1 SK-Gaming to climb out of the last place auto-relegation spot. Is getting awfully close to do or die, so don't miss it.
Actually, if I carry alone, I go nyam 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 nyam. When I eat every ult.
Yeah, you should.
Nyam 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 nyam.
But there we go, the Timbers is going to land the box as well in Yarn, and there's the true shot barrage, and Huni with the onslaught of Shadows is going to pick up his second.
I go move.
Nice.
Caitlyn.
I'm really strong. Thank you. Nice. Here comes the teleport in. Lulek's taken so low. Huni just going around the side, and he gets the flank on Fnatic. They take the 2-0, and they are the #2 seed here in Europe.